Welcome to another episode of Melissa's Menu. Today we have a special treat in the house, breakfast recipes. Who doesn't love breakfast? Growing up, it was such a treat to have breakfast in place of dinner. Plus, it was a little bit cheaper. As most of you know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, giving you plenty of energy. The first two recipes I'll be making today are inspired by the Hearth and Kettle restaurant right here in downtown Plymouth. Special thanks to the Hearth and Kettle underwriters of today's show. I had the privilege of meeting with Chef Tony Allen at the restaurant recently and have chosen a few of their main dishes to make for all of you today. Thanks, Tony, for your recipes and for your donation. First, we'll begin with a harvest hash. This recipe makes approximately 16 servings. We are first going to begin by starting a pot of boiling water on the stovetop here over high heat, and make sure you salt the water. I have kosher salt here. A little bit more. Potatoes are kind of bland, so definitely want to add some salt to it. And next we're going to add 2 pounds potatoes. Now you can use any kind of potato that you like. I'm using Yukon Gold potatoes. And you want to make sure they're cut just about a ½ inch in size, cubed. I have most of them already ready to go into the pot here. Let me just chop a couple over here. Another kind of potato that you might want to use for this, sweet potatoes. Definitely a healthier option. So use any kind you like. Let's go ahead and add this right in. Be careful it doesn't splash on you. We want the potatoes to cook just about 5 minutes, just until they're a little bit crisp, not all the way through. This is a nice alternative to corned beef hash. Okay, we're going to set this aside, let this boil for just about 5 minutes. And to this, in just a minute, we're going to be adding the butternut squash. Again, 2 pounds of the butternut squash, same size, about a ½ inch in diameter. Aren't these spoons wonderful, by the way? I love these spoons. My mom bought me quite a few of these last Christmas, actually. They fit right in the lip of the pot. They're so convenient. I love them. Next, we're going to add the 2 pounds butternut squash cubed. Again, same size. Be very careful, by the way, putting this into the water. It's so easy to splash yourself. So I think I'll use my spoon here and just try to scoop it in slowly. We want the butternut squash to cook for another, I'd say, 3 to 5 minutes. And again, we're adding this right to the potatoes. Afterward, we'll drain it, but not quite yet. Okay. We're going to let this sit for a few minutes. And butternut squash is actually a fruit, believe it or not. It's a winter squash. Has a nice sweet and nutty flavor to it. Similar to that of a pumpkin, actually. Next, we're going to heat 2 sticks of butter in a large saucepan. Make sure you don't use margarine, butter. I know I always talk about butter and all the ingredients that are full of fat, but definitely taste better. We just want the butter to brown. Maybe just a couple minutes for this. After this is brown, we're going to add 1½ pounds of diced onion. Again, any kind of onion is fine for this. I'm using just your standard yellow onion. Not quite done. We're still waiting for it to boil, but it's getting there. Okay, butter looks great. Let's go ahead and add the onions. And you can just dice these, no particular size. Any size you like is fine. I love the smell of onions. They give off such a nice aroma. The Hearth and Kettle is actually one of my very favorite restaurants. So I'm so anxious to make their 2 signature dishes. Okay, we're just going to leave this alone for a few minutes. And we'll let the onions sweat just for a couple minutes here. The squash is coming along nicely. As you can see, it's finally boiling. Next, we're going to add 1 tablespoon minced garlic. We'll add this right to the onion mixture. I know, every episode I seem to include garlic. And I know you all know my favorite saying, garlic makes everything taste better. It really does. Once again, don't use the store-bought garlic. Use a fresh garlic. It tastes so much better. We just want this to lightly brown. We don't want the garlic to burn, which happens very easily, so just be careful. By the way, do you like my new spoon holder? Another Christmas present. I love it. It's my first time using it, actually. Okay, I'm going to take a fork and just see if the potatoes are done, as well as the squash, if I can find a fork. I found the mystery fork. Okay, let's just see if these are done. If the fork goes all the way through, probably most of you do know this, but if the fork goes all the way through the potato and the squash, it's tender enough. If I can just grab one in here. Not quite. Maybe another minute or so for this. Okay, let's add the last ingredients for the onion mixture. I have everything already combined right in here. The poultry seasoning that we talked about, the salt and the pepper. I have 1 teaspoon of the poultry seasoning and 1 tablespoon salt and 1 tablespoon of black pepper. Just sprinkle that in. Poultry seasoning has a nice aroma as well, actually. And as you can see, the onions are turning a nice brown color. That's partially from the onions being cooked fully, and of course from the poultry seasoning as well. Oh, it smells wonderful in here. Just going to let this sit a few more minutes. And let's go ahead and drain the potatoes and the butternut squash. Fabulous. We're just about done. All we are going to do now is just combine them together. You can actually do this last step either in the skillet or in the large saucepan. I think I'm going to use the larger pan for this just because it makes so many, and I didn't have a large enough skillet that I brought. So no big deal. We'll just add it right into the larger one here. Oh, I can't wait to try this. Such an easy recipe. Anyone can make this. Okay, bring this back over. Add this right back in. And now we'll just combine the onion mixture together. I'm hoping the camera can get a nice close-up shot of this. Look how wonderful this looks. Scrape up all the bits of the butter here, the onion. You don't want to leave anything in the pan. Okay, let's mix this together. Pan is very hot. Let me just put my glove on here. Oh, this came out wonderful. Fantastic. What I think I'm going to use just to mix it up a little bit better is just a fork for this part. If you have a potato masher, even better. Can you smell it? Of course you can't smell it. You have to make it. Anyhow, this is the finished product. Let's make sure the camera can get a great close-up of this. Very hot. Perfect. Just what I thought. They're perfect. They're tender. Let's start the next recipe. Next, let's begin with the second recipe from the Hearth and Kettle. They're organic egg white frittata. This recipe makes approximately 12 servings. And frittatas are an egg-based dish similar to that of a quiche or an omelet. The difference boils down to folding in the filling rather than mixing it in. Omelets traditionally have the egg mixture cooked and folded around a filling, while a frittata just mixes it up, kind of like in a mismatch combination all at once. Frittatas are often served at room temperature, so they're perfect for brunches and large gatherings. Let's go ahead and begin. We are going to first spray. I have 3 small baking dishes here. If you want to make a large frittata, you can just put it in a large casserole dish. Okay. And next, in a large bowl, we're going to combine 3 ounces chopped baby spinach, which I have already done here. Everything is going right into the bowl for this, which is fantastic. 10 ounces chopped red bell pepper. 10 ounces sauteed onion. Any onion is fine, by the way. Okay. This is just a regular yellow onion I'm using. 10 ounces baby bellas. I love cooking with the baby bellas. They're nice and earthy in flavor. Great for this dish. We have 10 ounces chopped red tomato. These are Roma tomatoes. No potatoes in this dish. That was the last one. And 10 ounces Swiss shredded cheese. Any cheese is fine for this. Finally, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Oh yes, this one has garlic as well. And 1 tablespoon fresh minced basil. Make sure you get the fresh basil, not the dry. Makes a big difference in the flavor. So let's quickly chop this and add this right in. that's all for the vegetable mixture. The great thing about this recipe, most of the ingredients are already right in your cupboard. You can use any kind of cheese or any vegetables that you have for this frittata. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the egg mixture. We have 1.5 quarts of the egg whites already in here. Adding to that is 1 cup light cream. And 1 teaspoon salt and 1 teaspoon black pepper. Very easy. Let's whisk this together. Now, a lot of people are going organic these days. No pesticides, no breeding hormones, no antibiotics, and of course, the care of animals is much better as well. The great thing about this recipe, we're using all the egg whites, which the egg whites themselves are full of protein. The egg yolk is where you get into the high fat content and the cholesterol. So this is a wonderful recipe if you're trying to eat healthy this year. Okay, what we are going to do next is take a ladle, scoop out the vegetable mixture, and put it right into the baking dishes over here. I have my oven set on 325 for this. Okay, so now that we have this and the baking dishes, all we have to do now is just add the egg mixture right on top. And we're going to bake this in the oven for just about 20 minutes or until the eggs are set. Last part is adding the egg mixture right on top here. Beautiful. Okay. Let's pop this right in the oven for about 20 minutes. Take a look at the organic egg white frittata. Beautiful, isn't it? I love the green specks with the red. I can't wait to dig in. A little bit too hot. In just a few minutes, we'll try it. How about a breakfast smoothie for those of you who are on the way to work and don't have time to sit and eat? This is great for people who are normally on the go and skip breakfast. Try this awesome smoothie right in your blender. Whatever ingredients you have at home is fine. Today I'm using strawberries and bananas, hence strawberry banana smoothie. So let's begin with this. I'm adding 1 cup milk. Skim milk, whole milk, this is 1%. And then 1 cup, I'm using vanilla yogurt. A lot of people like to use non-fats or plain yogurt, whatever kind you have is fine. Scoop this out. That looks about right.
How about soy milk? Can we use soy milk?
Look what I just did. Okay, so we have the milk and we have the yogurt. Now take a look at these beautiful bananas. These are actually frozen bananas. Anytime you have overripe bananas, please don't throw them out. Either give them to me or put them right in your freezer. You can use them for banana bread or for the breakfast smoothies. They last anywhere from, I'd say, 2 to 4 months in your freezer. So let's go ahead and peel this. Actually, I'm just going to plop it right in the blender here. No need to chop anything here. And we are going to use honey. This will give it a nice sweet taste. Just about maybe a 1/4 teaspoon, half teaspoon. Just going to eyeball it. Looks about right. And no ice cubes for this. That's why I'm using the frozen bananas, because you don't need the ice. They're plenty cold enough. I almost forgot the other main ingredient, the strawberries. Let's use about a cup of this. That's all. Put the blender on and serve this up. I can't wait to try it. Beautiful. Take a look at the color. And let's try it. I take these a lot to go in the morning when I go to work. I have a to-go container, just a plastic. Pop the lid on. They're perfect. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention with this, go ahead and use a protein powder if you want. A lot of people use that right before or after their workout. Gives you a lot of energy, full of protein. Perfect. Has a nice sweetness with the honey in it too. On to our next recipe. Finally, for the blueberry muffins with a crumb topping. I guarantee you these will be your new favorite blueberry muffins. Wait until you see the topping. The topping itself makes the muffins hands down. This recipe makes 8 muffins. Let's go ahead and begin. We are going to start by measuring a 1.5 cups all-purpose flour. To that, we're going to add 3/4 cup regular white sugar. Add this. A 1/2 teaspoon regular table salt. And 2 teaspoons baking powder, not to be confused with baking soda. We're going to mix this together. I love these muffins. I make these actually quite often. I mostly just eat the muffin tops because I love the sugary crumb topping. But the blueberries, of course, are great as well. Okay, let's put this aside. Next, we're going to add a 1/3 cup vegetable oil. And you want to put this in a 1 cup measuring cup, just like this, okay? Let's add that, and I'll tell you why in just a minute here. Okay, a 1/3 cup right into the measuring cup. Now what we're going to do is add 1 egg inside the cup. Pay attention here. Okay. And finally, we are going to add milk. And we just want the milk to fill right to the edge of the cup here. Before I do that, a little piece of the shell fell in. So I want to get that out. Okay. Let's add the milk here. This part's real important that you make sure you measure it correctly. Again, I'm just using the milk that I had before for the smoothie. 1% milk, any kind of milk is fine. And now we're simply going to add this right into the dry mixture. Okay, combine this. I have some plump, fresh blueberries that I'm using for this. Okay, make sure this is combined thoroughly, which it is. And I'm using 1 cup for the blueberries. I have them washed and rinsed already, right in the bowl. And what we're going to do with the blueberries are fold them into the mixture. You don't want to mix them in because you just don't want to over mix the mixture. It's going to become tough You want it to be nice and light and fluffy for this part. So just very gently fold them in from the bottom to the top, just like this. Don't stir them. Okay, that's all. Now we're going to put these, I'm using just a regular liner for the cups here. These really are delicious. Wait until you see the crumb topping in just a minute here. Okay, so we have 8. Now I'm just going to go back, see which ones need a little bit more filling. The first one for sure. Just going to put this in the sink, and then we are going to make the crumb topping. Okay, now for the best part, the sugar crumb topping. What we have in the bowl is, I have a 1/2 cup sugar, a 1/3 cup flour, and 1½ teaspoons of ground cinnamon. And to that, we are going to add a 1/4 cup butter, 1/2 stick of butter. And all you do is mix this together and sprinkle it right on top. Okay, so let's get a close-up view of the crumb topping here for the camera. This is exactly what you want to look for. Okay, and now sprinkle right on top. I like to go overboard with this part, so you can always add extra crumb topping, make extra crumb topping if you like. Okay, I'm just going to use my fingers. There we go. That's working better. These are going into a preheated oven set at 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. I've got my timer set. We'll go ahead and check on it in just about 20 minutes. At the end of each episode, I'll be choosing one question for my viewers to answer. My first question is from Melinda Watts in Pembroke. Her question to me is, Dear Melissa, how do you keep from getting watery eyes when chopping an onion? Excellent question, Melinda. And I have a couple answers for you. Number 1, gum. Put a piece of gum in your mouth while you're chopping an onion, and they won't water. Number 2, put the onion in the freezer for about 15 or 20 minutes before you chop it. And my favorite answer is the good old-fashioned goggles method. Oh yeah, I'm putting these babies on. This will prevent you from getting watery eyes. That's all the time we have today, folks. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Melissa's Menu. How do I look, by the way? Join us next week when we'll be focusing on Super Bowl Sunday. See you then.